What up, y'all, and welcome to Texas Motor Speedway for the fifth race of the 2023 NRSL Digital Storm Cup Series. We're gearing up for 101 laps of action here at Texas Motor Speedway. I think I already said that, but hey, I said it again. Rob Evans on pole for the first time this year, second pole of his Cup Series career. To his outside is teammate Zachary Fitzwater Sr. Row 2, we got last year's race winner, Kev Shearer, with Jonathan Zorlin to his outside. By the way, Fitzwater won here in 2021. Row 3, Nate Rogers and Cole Deaver. Row 4, Derek Hamill, another great qualifying effort for him after making the race at Phoenix. Making the race again here today. Logan Williams to his outside. And in row 5, you got Keith Rich and Seth Cole. Other race winners here in the field are 2020 race winners Samet Oskin and Jesse Turner, and 2018 race winners Andrew Rich and Charles Sanford. So going through the rest of the starting lineup, gonna pull up who missed the race here this afternoon. See Andrew Rich starting a bit deep in the field. So missing today's race, Saden Davidson, big surprises out of Alexander Rowe and Vince Freeze. Then Owen Miles, Archibald Buttersworth, Audra Baranowskis, another surprise, missing today's event. Chris Harvey, Corey Raymond, Diego Yepes, who has been perfect so far this season through Go or Go Home, he misses out today. Sebastian Kukulon, Colt Hudson, Dennis Moore, Colin Cropley, Christian Vargas, Darian Ton, Skylar Taylor, Zach Carrington, and Zachary DeLello. All missing today's races. You see Charles Sanford starting in the final row. So 101 laps of action, expecting it to be a two-stop race. But as always, it can be pretty dicey leaving pit road here at Texas Motor Speedway. We've seen accidents in the past where drivers are coming off a pit road and someone on the track runs into them when they're merging up. We've also seen incidents coming into the pit lane if drivers try to pit late and they can't get down, they miss the cone. Sometimes they get run over before they even get into the grass. So gonna have to be really careful here. Otherwise, it's a pretty clean racetrack. We see racing get spread out all the time. Coming into today's event, your points leader is Nate Rogers now with a 44-point lead over Dylan Young, 45 over RJ Bishop, 47 over Kev Shearer, and 54 over Samet Oskin. The rest of your top 10 is Jessica Shelton, Keith Rich, Stephen Waters, Henry Sanford, and Lane Sanders. So that's your top 10 in points. Series officials are looking at going back on the new package here following today's race. And they are going to be bringing back the 2020 package. So first 5 races of Digital Storm and the first 3 races of Jerky Pro will not tell the whole tale of the season. But it'll be interesting to see how the veterans adapt back to the old package and how the rookies adapt to a package they've never driven before. As Rob Evans will lead the first lap of the race. Fitzwater single file behind him along with Kev Shearer and Nate Rogers. So we have not seen Jonathan Zorlin, the 2-time defending series champion, do too hot this year. So he will likely be looking forward to that package coming back. He sits 12th in the points with just 1 top 5 so far this season. And you'll see here at Texas, as always, off of turn 4, outside line tends to get tight, and especially through the first left-hander of the quad oval section. As Kev Shearer looking for second place from Zachary Fitzwater Sr. Kev got the win in a wild finish here a year ago. Came down to him pretty much overcutting it on every green flag pit stop and getting some lucky cautions. And no one could touch the 0-0 of Kev Shearer on the final restart last year. Now it's looking like he's going to do the opposite, perhaps. Maybe go to the undercut strategy as he is looking to take the race lead from Rob Evans. This 0-0 Chevy looks pretty trimmed out, and he's leading 2 Chevys with him past Evans and Fitzwater, the teammates at Evans Gardner Motorsports. As it'll be Kev Shearer, Nate Rogers, and now Jonathan Sorlin, the top 3 as we complete lap number 4. Got some drivers struggling in the mid-pack. Dylan Young in the 2, 21st. Teammate Samet Oskin, 22nd. Got last week's winner, Henry Sanford, in 25th. How about Ace Rogers back here? Stephen Waters. Nico Tringali once again starting at the rear, trying to move his way forward. He's looking for 30th here on Ryan Brommer. You see Andrew Rich stuck on that outside line to start the race. He has fallen down the running order. Charles Sanford, meanwhile, has gone nowhere. He still sits in 41st place. But as the tires really wear here at Texas Motor Speedway, you should see the veterans slowly rise to the top, but we'll have to see if they've got the car under them to do that here this afternoon, as we've seen so far this year with this current package that has not really always been the case, even for the veteran leadership. But Charles Sanford, as you can see, starting to make some gains as drivers are stuck on the outside line, up to 39th place. We'll have to check back in and see where he's at in another 10 laps or so. Well, the top 3 have checked out from the rest of the field for the time being. It's Kev Shearer in the lead, Nate Rogers in 2nd, and Jonathan Sorlin in 3rd. Zachary Fitzwater Sr. sits in 4th over Derek Hamill, who's about to lose 5th to William Brock. Roy Ribbleton, pretty good run for that 83 Red Bull Toyota. He's going to pass by Hamill as well for position. That'll put Ribbleton up to 6th. Seth Cole rebounding pretty quickly after the way the Phoenix race ended for him. He is running in 8th place. Rob Evans, the pole sitter, down the 9th, with Cole Deaver rounding out the top 10. Pretty good run for Ricky Freeman Jr. here, who's got no prior experience in either Digital Storm Cup or Jerky Pro trucks. So pretty solid run so far for him to be running in 11th place. Allison Liera, runner-up finisher here in 2019 when John Arndt won, and that was Liera's 2nd championship. This was a finale race in 2019. So Liera currently in 12th with Shelton 13th. Lucas Catano, decent run, 14th. We see Dylan Young starting to move up through the running order. He's up to 15th over RJ Bishop. Samet Oskin also moving up in 17th place. Logan Williams 18th now as Enzo Nereza goes by Keith Rich for 19th. Henry Sanford will take 20th as Keith Rich, you can see, really checking up on that outside line. Was running inside the top 15 earlier, but now it looks like that car is heading in the wrong direction. Ace Rogers, former teammate to Keith, up to 21st. Ferranti, Stephen Waters. You see Andrew Rich, 25th, going to get put to the outside here by Richard Johnson. That's going to get Rich stuck behind his teammate and son of Keith. And they are both going to lose a couple positions here, as you see Nico Tringali, Zach Flickinger going by. The 96 has been having a tough go at it here this afternoon as well. See Laura Chung just inside the top 30. Trey Smith, Kate Anderson. Charles Sanford up to 33rd. Logan York, Quinton Moore struggling here. Bradley Ream, Benjamin Ice, Ryan Brommer, Jesse Turner, Scott Roush, Lane Sanders, Corey Riggs round out the running order, as Jonathan Sorlin, while we were going through the field, made it by his teammate of Nate Rogers for 2nd place. We'll have to see if Sorlin can take a run at Kev Shearer's race lead. Closing in on the first round, the green flag pit stops. William Brock and Roy Ribbleton are hot on the tail of Zachary Fitzwater Sr. as Nate Rogers has now started to trail off of the top 2 of Kev Shearer and Jonathan Sorlin. Seth Cole up to 7th place is going to have Allison Liera make a move on him here for the position. Dylan Young has ran all the way up into the top 10. That number 2 Hooters Ford Mustang is hooked up, and Liera and him are going to go by Seth Cole for a position each. As Ricky Freeman Jr. has jumped into the top 10. Meanwhile, Cole Deaver, Derek Hamill, and Rob Evans have fallen out of the top 10. You see Oskin up to 16th place. Meanwhile, Andrew Rich has started moving forward again. He's up to 20th. Nico Tringali is in 30th. Charles Sanford has fallen back 2 positions in 35th. And you see Keith Rich, the biggest faller of all, is starting to make a small climb back forward. He is in 40th. Got a long way to go, though, for him here. So Kev Shearer, the race leader, fastest lap set this run was a 29.033 by Jonathan Zorlin. Kev Shearer would be looking to make Texas the first track he's won twice at. As in Texas's history, we have never seen a driver win here twice. So I don't know if that's the unique nature of the racetrack or just the strategy aspect of it, but no one has nailed Texas on the head twice in series history. And this is the Cup Series 9th time racing here at Texas. Kev Shearer's got his hand out the window here on lap 32 and will begin the pit cycle. So it looks like the window this year will be 32 to maybe 35 laps. Waiting for most of the field to drive by here so we can take a look at who joined Kev coming down the pit lane. Looks like you got Allison Liera, Jessica Shelton, Rob Evans, Andrew Rich, Trey Smith, Scott Roush, and Quinton Moore on the first group. And it looks like Sorlin will be leading the second group down. Nate Rogers, his teammate, going to follow in. Dylan Young, Seth Cole, the first 2 to stay out. Looks like Hamill, Oskin, Catano, RJ Bishop will stay out. Oh, contact made here with Henry Sanford and Cole Deaver. As most of the rest of the field is going to bring it down into pit road. As Corey Riggs, I don't know if he got in his stall, and he did not. So final group in will be Dylan Young, Seth Cole, Derek Hamill, Samantha Oskin, RJ Bishop, Catano, Richard Johnson, Priya McShane, Ace Rogers. Also got Ryan Brommer coming in. And that is it. So we'll have to see how the field shakes up. As always, it's about 3.5 to 4.5 seconds of tire fall off here at Texas. So if you're on the overcut, you just lost a ton of positions. If you're on the undercut, you just gained a ton of positions. Last of the drivers coming off of pit road. Stephen Waters is going to make a move on Cole Deaver here. Sends him around after contact with RJ Bishop. And right at the end of the pit cycle, we have a caution, y'all. Caution flag is out. That's really going to shake this thing up here. Kev Shearer is the race leader. And Henry Sanford will get his lap back here, as he is the first driver a lap down. But now you got to wonder what's going to happen here strategy-wise, as everyone has just been down pit road. Of course, the undercutters put about 5 laps on their tires, so they might want to consider coming down pit road, taking 4, taking 2. As it looks like Kev Shearer is going to come down pit road, and even Jonathan Sorlin and Allison Liera are going to come down behind him. I guess it looks like a lot of people coming in. Better question is who's going to stay out. Looks like Roy Ribbleton will. Dylan Young, Seth Cole, Sameta Oskin, Priya McShane, Derek Hamill, Lucas Catano, Bradley Ream, Cade Anderson, the JTG Daugherty cars of Richard Johnson and Ryan Brommer. Daugherty? I can never say his name right. Ace Rogers also staying out. Ooh, and some contact there between Liera and Chung. Seeing a lot of different calls here. I'm seeing people take rights only. I'm seeing people take 4. See, Rob Evans just lost a ton of track position because he opted to take 4. So this is going to be interesting. If we get another full green flag run in here now that the field is going to be lined up single file, it's going to be very interesting to watch and see if those that took 2 are able to hold off those that took 4, and etc., as they only had about a couple laps on their tires. So Benjamin Ice also got his lap back as he opted not to pit. He was in front of race leader Roy Ribbleton, so he got the wave around. So your top 10 running order is Ribbleton, Dylan Young, Seth Cole, Oskin, McShane, Hamill, Catano, Ream, Cade Anderson, and Richard Johnson out of 12 cars that stayed out. Jonathan Zorlin, the first of those that pit. I believe he took 2 tires, as did the 9 of Nate Rogers. The first one on 4 tires here, I believe, is the 23 of Andrew Rich. The 16 of Quentin Moore, 65 of Rob Evans also took 4. Actually, no, wait. I think Allison Liera and Jessica Shelton are actually also on 4. I think Kev Shearer took 4 as well. I don't have a list in front of me, so I'm kind of just trying to guess off of memory here, as this is a tape delay recording. So we'll have to see here for sure how those on 2 tires are definitely, I think, going to be at least a little faster than those that stayed out. As you see, Cade Anderson is already falling backwards. But what'll be really curious to watch is if those that took 4 tires are better than those on 2. Right now, I see Allison Liera all up the bumper of Nate Rogers coming off of turn 4, as it looks like Dylan Young made quick work of things at the front and took the race lead away from Roy Ribbleton, and now sending Ribbleton down the running order. So Dylan Young to the race lead. Corey Riggs is 3 laps down after he had issues on his green flag pit stop. So Riggs not in the running for any position here, and the only thing he's got to his credit right now is he's got the freshest tires on track next to those that just came down pit road under caution. So we'll have to see how Riggs holds here with the race leaders. Couple laps have gone by. Dylan Young continues to pull away in the race lead, towing Corey Riggs with him. Sameta Oskin is 2nd, Priya McShane 3rd, Richard Johnson and Ryan Brommer 4th and 5th, Seth Cole 6th, Derek Hamill 7th, Roy Ribbleton 8th, as Bradley Moo's going to make a move on him for that position. Meanwhile, to the inside of Ace Rogers for 10th is Jonathan Zorlin. Jessica Shelton, I believe, is the first driver on 4 tires behind the 5. As Ferranti, I believe, is also either on 2 or 4 here. I'm not quite sure. I know Quentin Moore is on 4. Andrew Rich is on 4. Kev Shearer, Rob Evans, Allison Liera, they are all on 4. You can see Nate Rogers took 2. He has fallen down the running order to 22nd. Now remember, Nate Rogers is the points leader. Coming into this race, a 44-point lead over Dylan Young, who leads it. So that is very important. See Evans dive it to the inside. Ace Rogers, you can just see how much more grip Evans has even on the inside line here. And he clears the pass on Ace with ease. But right now, it looks like all the drivers on 4 tires are kind of boxed up behind Jonathan Zorlin, who took 2. So Zorlin doing all he can to make that car wide as possible for now, as the next pit cycle would begin in about 15 laps. So you really just want to Try to hold as many positions as you can here, but you can see Quinton Moore on the outside line as Ferranti is checked up behind Zorlin. Moore is going faster through the corner on that top side. Gonna look through some more of the running order, see what got shaken up. See Fitzwater down here in 26 now. Charles Sanford still trying to move forward. He just moved up to 27th. You can see Keith Rich still struggling to move back up towards where he was running at. He's in the 31st. Nico Tringali back here. RJ Bishop. Cole Deaver, man, all the way down to 39th. See Henry Sanford, Laura Chung. Benjamin Ice has been able to gain position since taking the wave round, but you can't say the same about Sanford. And meanwhile, back up at the front of the field now, Dylan Young starting to continue to pull away from Oskin. Oskin gaining some time back that lap by, but now Corey Riggs is up the tailpipe of the two of Dylan Young. As we close in on the second round of green flag pit stops, Dylan Young has a 2.2 second lead over Samet Oskin and has increased his gap now over Corey Riggs, who is 3 laps down. Brommer and Richard Johnson up the third and fourth, but the ones that have been moving through the field are Allison Liera, Andrew Rich, and Kev Shearer. So Liera now up to 5th, Andrew Rich in 6th place, just getting by Seth Cole. Kev Shearer likely going to be looking to make a move on Seth here soon. He's back up to 8th. Ferranti in 9th, Rob Evans 10th, Quinton Moore 11th. And you see Ricky Freeman Jr. kind of hanging on there in 12th. And then there's the gap, the 1 second gap back to Trey Smith. Stephen Waters, Jessica Shelton, despite taking 4, has not really gone anywhere. Same with Scott Roush. But you can see Ribbleton, who stayed out, has only fallen to 17th compared to Sorlin, who took 2, who is really starting to lose positions. Charles Sanford, Fitzwater, Keith Rich, they are also starting to move forward. I'm not really sure if they took 4 tires or not, but they have been making passes regardless. So going to be closing in on that cycle here soon. So we will take another quick step aside, and then we'll be back to see who pits win. Issues for Priya McShane. She was running inside the top 10 and had a flat tire, had to pull it down to the apron and come to a stop. She will now be 5 laps down, and she cannot make it on fuel from here. So very tough break from McShane. Was having a wonderful race. Now this is where things will get sketchy because she has the freshest tires on track right now. And you can already see it going into turn 3. She is going to have to be careful here. You do not want to run anybody over when you're 5 laps down. And you're not racing anyone for position. As you can see into turn 1 here, just nowhere to go behind Rob Evans. Has to really be careful about it. But the one good thing is this won't last too long. Actually, Priya is 6 laps down. But this won't last too long, and once everyone else gets down the pit road, McShane will have the oldest tires on the racetrack. Second green flag pit cycle has begun here on lap 67. It's Alex Ferranti and Stephen Waters for Hendrick coming on in. Nico Tringali also going to join them. Benjamin Ice, Cole Deaver in as well. They are nowhere near race leader Dylan Young, so we're really going to have to watch and see when Dylan Young comes in, as his lead now over Liera and Andrew Rich is down to 2 seconds. Ricky Freeman Jr. will be the next one in from 13th place. Roy Ribbleton, William Brock coming in as well. Logan Williams, Lucas Catano, Lane Sanders, Henry Sanford. What a tongue twister, man. Sanders, Sanford, Sanders, Sanford, Sanders, Sanford. Kate Anderson also in the pit road. I swear I could not say Sanders, Sanford any faster than that, because then it just tongue twists you. Dylan Young's going to pit from the race lead here, and not really surprised that those that pit on the caution are going to stay out. Brommer, Oskin, Richard Johnson, and Seth Cole coming into pit road as well. Bradley Ream, Derek Hamill, RJ Bishop. This is also when things can get sketchy because now you've got a ton of different pit groups going on here. Looks like Liera and Andrew Rich aren't going to waste any time. They know they will lose a ton of time if they stay out any longer. Look at the move there by Corey Riggs to make the late move down pit road. Oh, and that just checked up Liera and Andrew Rich a ton. Lap cars, man, I'm telling you. Keith Rich will pit. Ace Rogers. That gave the lead to the 00 of Kev Shearer. 30 laps to go. Now Kev finds himself on the overcut here, and he is going to stay out another lap. Scott Roush, Rob Evans, though, they're going to come in the pit road from 2nd and 3rd. Same with Quinton Moore, Trey Smith, 4th and 5th. Shelton from 6th. Charles Sanford from 7th. Turner from 8th. You see Ferranti had to check up there to let him pit. Fitzwater, Nate Rogers, Nico Tringali checking up as well. Pretty much everyone else is going to come in here. Oh, man, and they are really having to check up because of these people pitting. So Kev Shearer ends up being the last one to come down this year, just like he did last year. But we'll have to see where he comes out in the running order. Cycle is complete, and man, I'll tell you what. Corey Riggs, his move there to pit late, get in front of the 10 and the 23, and then his stall's right there, so he slams on the brakes in front of him and pits. Well, that maneuver cost Liera and Andrew Rich about 3 seconds. Yeah, maybe 2. But valuable time lost for both Rich and Liera here. In any shot of them maybe catching Dylan Young with their 1-lap pressure tires was going to be difficult anyway. But that really put a nail there in their chances. So Dylan Young has the race lead. 2.7 seconds over Steven Waters. As you see, Jonathan Zorlin, who stayed out a long time, is right here in front of the race leader. We'll get to him in a second. Zach Flickinger, Logan York a lap down with Laura Chung. Corey Riggs still, of course, a ton of laps down. So Waters in 2nd, Ferranti 3rd. Ricky Freeman Jr. is up to 4th. Ryan Brommer in 5th. Benjamin Ice 6th. You see the first of the overcutters here. Andrew Rich moving up to 7th now. Allison Liera 8th. Oskin 9th as Nico Tringali starts to lose positions. But a good rebound here for Tringali. If he could finish top 20, top 25, that'd be a pretty solid result after how most of his day has been. See Richard Johnson 12th. How about Keith Rich 13th? He's on the overcut, and he has really been moving forward since he fell all the way down to last place near the beginning of this race. So he moves up to 12th there over Richard. Deaver in 14th, Catano 15th, Seth Cole 16th. See Lane Sanders kind of stuck on the outside right now, losing spots. Scott Roush is another of those drivers on overcut tires. He's up to 20th place, looking for a good run. William Brock 23rd. Starting to see the people that really lost time. Look at Rob Evans 27th, Charles Sanford 28th. Kev Shearer 33rd, Fitzwater 34th, Nate Rogers 35th, Sorlin 36th. So now all these guys are at the bottom of the running order, but remember, they pit almost as late as they could. So we should see them gain time back here over the course of the run, but it is going to be tough for them to get a good finish. Fastest lap of the race, is going to belong to Logan York in the 95, a 28.989, or 789, sorry. You think I can read? Apparently not. Dylan Young's got a 4.5 second lead over Ryan Brommer. Several drivers have unlapped themselves from Dylan Young due to their fresher tires. So far, Laura Chung has yet to do so. You see Corey Riggs running in front of Brommer. So Brommer sits in 2nd place. Andrew Rich, I think, will at least get up to him and take 2nd, but I don't think he's got enough time to catch Dylan Young with the 6.4 second gap. Ricky Freeman Jr. was up to 3rd. He's back down to 4th. Ferranti in 5th. Liera is right behind him in 6th. Now going to look to take 5th. Samet Oskin, 7th. Keith Rich has continued to drive forward. He is up to 8th place. As we effectively end the, quote, West Coast swing, heading over to Kansas Speedway next week. It's not really on the West Coast, but they've got sports teams in the West Division, so I guess it's a West Coast track. I don't know. Anyways, we head to Kansas next week for another standalone event in the Digital Storm Cup Series, and then we'll head to the Brickyard of Indianapolis. So that'll be another big race in Indianapolis. Gonna probably be closer in length to Daytona. Make that a big race for the series. We'll likely do that as well for Darlington and probably Homestead, and then the finale at Atlanta. Back to the running order. Ferranti now down to 8th. Roy Ribbleton holding strong in 9th. Same with Stephen Waters in 10th. Remember, Waters won at Auto Club. Priya McShane is a ton of laps down. I forgot. Nico Tringali still holding on to 11th. Benjamin Ice 12th. Scott Roush, though, moving up the running order, is going to take 12th place with ease. Scott Roush might get himself a top 10 here this afternoon, and that would be huge for his season and where he sits in the point standings. Richard Johnson in 14th. Quinton Moore 15th. Seth Cole 16th. See Trey Smith and Jessica Shelton going to make a move on Lucas Catano here. Ace Rogers, I believe, is now up into the top 20 as well. Yes, indeed, as Catano will fall to 20th. Deaver has fallen out of the top 20. You see Charles Sanford, Rob Evans are right here knocking on the door of a top 20 finish. Kev Shear has made up some more ground, but he is still in the 31st place. But a lot of people he could potentially pass here with his fresh tires. And Kev could get a top 20 yet here with 10 laps to go. You see William Brock still 32nd place. Sorlin 33rd. Nate Rogers 34th. Fitzwater as well, all trying to close in the gap to maybe gain some spots. But it has been difficult. So 9 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. And Dylan Young's pretty much got this in the bag. 5 laps to go. Dylan Young's lead over Brommer has decreased just a bit. And now with Andrew Rich up here on Brommer's back bumper, Rich will make the move for 2nd place. Right behind him is his son Keith, who's really impressed us here in the second half of this race. Remember, fell all the way down to 40th. Can't say that enough. Fell down to 40th. And it's partially strategy, but it's also partially a really great race car, as Keith will go by Ryan Brommer here and take 3rd place away. So now it's a Rich Racing 2-3 potential finish here. So you see Liera in 5th. Oskin 6th. Scott Roush, man, all the way up to 7th place. Ricky Freeman Jr., Roy Ribbleton, Alex Ferranti currently round out the top 10, but will they be able to hold it? Charles Sanford is up to 15th place now on the running order. Rob Evans also up inside the top 20. There's 3 laps to go here now at Texas. Keith Rich looks like he might want 2nd place from Father Andrew, and he is going to go for it here into turn 3. Now Charles Sanford up to 14th place. See Rob Evans in 18th. Kev Shearer has made it all the way up to 21st. Sorlin 25th. Meanwhile, Nate Rogers, though, still 30th. Fitzwater hasn't really gone anywhere either. He is 33rd. So Keith Rich will take 2nd place away from Andrew. Liera might have a slim shot at Brommer here for 4th. But now remember, Alex Ferranti Lost the top 10 finish right at the end of Miller Motorsports Park, and it looks like that is going to happen here again today at Texas Motor Speedway as Quinton Moore closed up to his back bumper, and Quinton Moore is going to take the position away. But back up to the front of the field, Strategy got Dylan Young into the race lead right after the pit cycle ended. The first one, caution came out. Young was able to take the lead from Roy Ribbleton, hold on to it. Strategy worked to his benefit, and today, Dylan Young gets it done in Texas. He wins it. That'll be the first Ford win at this track since 2020, where Ford swept the races. It'll be the 4th win for Ford at this track overall. Dylan Young gets what is only his 2nd win on an intermediate track. But this is a big win for Young. It's his 7th career victory in the Digital Storm Cup Series. And he becomes only the 8th driver in series history to reach that mark of 7 wins. And that's really where you start to separate yourself from the rest of the drivers in the history book, is 7 wins on up. So got to give a huge congratulations to Dylan Young. Actually breaks a tie for 8th all-time with Alexander Rowe, who's also won 6 races in series history. So pretty big mark there for Dylan Young. When you want to talk legendary territory, I'd say double digits is where you get to. 10 wins and up. It's only 5 drivers have done that so far in series history, but one driver that's right there on the door is that 59 of Zachary Fitzwater Sr. who just pulled it into his pit stall. 9 wins in Fitzwater's Cup Series career. Nate Rogers behind him with 8, and now Dylan Young with 7. And man, it was a shame Alexander Rowe did not qualify for this race. But Kansas is next, and we'll be back with a bit of an old package. I said it was the old package, but it's more so a combination of a 2019 package mixed with 2022 package. So we'll see how that changes the landscape of the racing. If a change needs to be made again in 5 races, a change will be made. But if not, we'll run it out. So with that said, that's all I got here today. Dylan Young, your race winner. And I'll see y'all at Kansas.